Hey everyone, this is Mr. Dunkel. Today we're going to be looking at camera shots because you're going to be making videos this year, as well as you'll have several teachers in the next few years that will give you video projects. So I want you to know some basic understandings of what we refer to as videography, being able to take good videos. So the first shot that I want to show you is called an extreme long shot. It's often used as the opening shot for a TV show or for a movie. And what the extreme long shot does is it establishes the scene for the audience. It lets the audience know where your film or where your particular scene is taking place. And you'll notice even cartoon directors use it. We have The Simpsons and Family Guy here. Both of them tend to start the show with an extreme long shot so the audience knows that the scene's taking place inside the house. So here's a couple examples, one you may be familiar with. This is the opening of a movie many years ago by George Lucas. And this is one of the most extreme long shots ever. It's basically showing outer space. So that's about as extreme as you can get. And this is for the movie Star Wars. And this was the opening scene in Star Wars. So even though the audience knew that this was probably taking place in outer space, George Lucas still went ahead and showed an extreme long shot to make sure we all were very clear it was taking place in outer space. Now, another example of using an extreme long shot, again, is just to establish the scene. So anytime you change locations, so let's say you're making a film where part of the film's at school and then another part is at home. When you change to a new location in your film, you want to have another establishing shot. And usually extreme long shot's a good way to go. So here's another example you might be familiar with. This is James Cameron's Titanic. And even though people know that it takes place on a boat, he starts with an extreme long shot of the boat. This is the scene change here. So it's not the opening of the movie. It's a little bit later in the movie. But by doing that shot, he's able to make it clear that this man, the captain, is on the boat. Had he just started with this shot, you might be unsure. You know, his uniform somewhat looks like a police cap here. He's got some medals, so you don't know if he's military or what. So by having that extreme long shot of the boat, we know that he's the boat's captain. So it's important, again, you don't always have to establish your scene with an extreme long shot. You could use a long shot to do it as well, or some other types. But it is important to establish your scene for your audience, and extreme long shots are a really good way to go. Now, when we move the camera in a little bit closer, we get what's called a long shot. This is really good when we're still wanting to show the scenery and we want to show the movement of characters in the scenery. But we don't want to get so close that we're really paying attention to the detail. So this would be a really good type of shot if your social studies teacher tells you that he wants you to do a film on Pickett's charge in the Civil War, for instance. Then you could use this type of shot to show the soldiers running across the field. So we're seeing the scenery, we're seeing the movement, but we're not really focusing on details. So this is just a very short clip of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You'll see King Arthur and Patsy as they move across the countryside. So they use use a long shot to show us that. All right, as we start getting into the characters and wanting to show the characters and their dialogue and getting close to when they're talking, we want to typically start with a medium shot. The idea of a medium shot, it's a full body shot, and sometimes you'll hear it referred to also as a full shot. And so what a full body shot does, or a medium shot does, is it lets the audience really get a good view of the character. And that's important the first time we see a character because it helps us to make some assumptions about the character. We can fill in some blanks just based off of what we see. Now, once they start talking, it's usually better to get into what's called a medium close-up, or potentially even a close-up, and we'll talk about both of those. A medium close-up is basically the waist up. So if you're going to introduce a character, let us see a full body shot, and then as that character starts to talk, let's move in a little bit closer. So here's an example of that. This is The Sound of Music. And in this particular scene, what you're going to see is a full body shot of the characters. And the full body shot helps us to determine things like we can tell she's older than her and her. And so by seeing full body, we get more of a sense of the person, what they're wearing, their ages, things of that nature. But then when it gets to an important part where they're focusing on a single person, the director moves into a medium close-up. So you can tell we're still at a medium shot here, seeing the full body. But in just a moment, he's about to sing. So that medium close-up helped us really to focus in on him, not be distracted by everyone else. So you could use that similar if you're having dialogue. Two people walk up in the hallway to talk. You could show them full body, and then as they start to talk, move in a little closer. Now, here's another example when you're going to be moving in close for a dialogue, and this is called a close-up. It's basically kind of a shoulders-up shot. It lets us really see the eyes, see the expressions on their face, so it's a great shot, especially if you're saying something very important. Now, in this example here, this is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Ferris has taken the day off of school. Now, in this scene, and this is the end, but it will not ruin it for you at all, he is explaining kind of part of the reason why he decided to take a day off from school. And so John Hughes, the director, for this really important scene, the most important lines that he's really saying, he comes in really close so we can see his expression.
Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
And so we were really able to focus on his words. We're drawn into what he has to say. We're not getting distracted by things in the background. And we're able to see a smirk at the end. And so a close-up is really, really helpful if you have a real important line to say. So keep that in mind. And it's okay to mix medium close-ups and close-ups while you have dialogue going on. Now, the extreme close-up is something you want to use sparingly. Don't overdo it. But extreme close-up can be really helpful if you're trying to show intense emotion or you're really trying to explain something. So let's look at this example here. This is from the Blair Witch Project, and this is a movie about some college film students who have heard about a ghost in Maryland. They go out in the woods trying to find the ghost. At this point in the film, two of the three are lost or they've disappeared. So this girl is all by herself. She has her camera because she's a film student, and she's filming, and she's really scared right now. So she's turned her camera, at herself, and she's talking. What I want you to do is watch her eye. And at the latter part of this, she's going to say, "I'm afraid to open my eyes." And right after that, you're going to see a teardrop. And we wouldn't be able to see that if we weren't in an extreme close-up.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so she's hearing a noise in the woods that's making her scared. If you pay close attention, you might see some mucus dropping out of her nose, which is something we wouldn't see with an extreme close-up.
I'm scared to close my eyes.
Now pay attention to her eye right here.
I'm scared to open them.
And right when she looks at us, we see the tear. So it's an excellent shot. Now, for our last example here, this is a use of extreme close-up if you want to help explain something. So let me go back. Here we go.
To reset your Buzz Lightyear, insert paperclip.
Okay, let me play that one more time. I'll see if I can pause it here. Okay, so without this little half-second shot of Rex putting his finger into the reset button, you would be a little unclear. You just hear Rex use your finger, and then Buzz jumps up, okay? So by having this half-second shot, it really helps us understand the process, what's going on. So you can use extreme close-ups for that purpose as well. So again, that's all the shots, going from extreme long shot to an extreme close-up. Remember, when you introduce a character, medium shot, let us see full body. When you are having characters talk, you probably want to be a medium close-up to a close-up for that. Remember to establish your scene anytime you change your location. And we'll have some more videos to give you some more tips on things like Dutch angles, the 180-degree rule, rule of thirds, and things of that nature. But hopefully this will help you, and good luck making your videos.